H-Town, what it do? My name is Nick Stevenson.
I'm SCARA, and hey, baby bulls, welcome, and thanks for joining us for Texans Bloodline. Look, I got a Texans shirt.
Okay.
Yep,
I see it.
and red, white, and blue earrings. It's hard to see
My
the detail,
goodness.
but yep.
Okay. I can't wait to hear what your fandom score is then. Scare, it's so much easier and more fun to do these after a win, isn't it?
It's a little bit.
For sure. And
Okay, a lot of it, but yeah.
yeah, 100%. And I know all of our fellow baby bulls missed you last week. We're glad to have you back.
Thank you.
This show just isn't the same without you. And I'm so excited
Aw.
to hear how you feel about the Texans bouncing back from a pretty bad loss. And trust me, you didn't miss anything special while you were gone. Bouncing back from that once again and getting a pretty convincing win against a good football team.
You know, it's nice to feel like I am, I don't know, like a teen bull, a toddler bull. I think
Right.
we've graduated me, right?
100%.
And just I don't know, it hit different this time, I think.
For sure. I when I was watching the game, I was actually thinking about like what is Scara going to think about this particular play, especially your guy Xavier Hutchinson had another career day, the most catches of his career, scored another awesome touchdown. So just tell me overall, like how much fun did you have watching this team?
You know, it was a lot more fun because we had the ball like the entire time, and I was actually thinking, you know, maybe I'll give the offense a chance to have, sorry, the defense a chance to have the bum of the week,
Yeah,
but I never got a chance to see them.
yeah,
So it took some effort.
and that is a beautiful thing. You know, you being a baseball fan, I compare the defense being on the field to your pitcher's pitch count. You know, when you're watching baseball, you want your pitcher to throw as few pitches as possible and be as efficient as he can and go as deep into the game as he can. Because the more pitches he throws, the more tired he's going to be at the end of the game, right? And then he's
Right.
more susceptible to giving up hits. Well, that's kind of how I view the defense. And when the offense was on the field for these long extended drives, I'm thinking, okay, this defense, they got a low pitch count. That means at the end of the game, when they got to get stops, they're not going to be tired, which we have seen
Right.
in some
Yes.
of the previous games. So that time of possession was huge. And I'm so glad you noticed that. Man,
Yeah,
Scary,
and
you know ball, bro. You know ball.
well, you know, I was thinking, can you imagine, like, growing up wanting to be a professional baseball,
No, that's not
uh,
right.
football, yeah, you put that in my head. A professional football player, right? You've gone through high school, maybe collegiate, and here you are, and you are the defense, and you don't get to play.
Right. Exactly.
Or you're, like, on the
Exactly.
field for what, 4 minutes it was or something crazy.
Yeah. But hey, I feel like the defense will take it because they know the more rested I am, then we can go out there, especially if our offense gives us a lead, then we can go out there and hunt. And that's kind of what we saw towards the end of the game. So
Towards the end.
I know Xavier Hutchinson is definitely going to be on your list of players you were impressed with. Give me some others though.
Okay, so definitely Marks. He
Mhm.
had a lot of great plays. I thought maybe we would miss Collins,
Right?
but we actually were good, right? Um, right? Aren't they the same?
Yeah, yeah. No,
Okay.
so I agree with
Good.
you, and I'm glad you noticed that because I was a little bit concerned about what would happen without Collins. He got a concussion in the previous week's game, and so obviously we want to be as careful as we can with that. The fact that he was sitting out, you know, is a concern on the field, but we care more about his health than we care about wins and losses. At least some of us do. Here at Texans Bloodline, we do.
Yes, definitely.
Um, but I thought while this game was going on, we saw Braxton Berrios get involved. Obviously, we saw Jaden Higgins, Jalen Knoll, Woody Marks, even some good plays from Dalton Schultz. My thought process was this has to give these guys a lot of confidence to say, hey, guys, look what we can do without our best wide receiver.
And
Now
didn't I
when he
call it?
go ahead.
Remember I said, "Look, maybe we just need some fresh blood out on the."
100%. I think
Yeah,
you and I have
and
both been saying that. And if you think about all the names that got called, it was Woody Marks, you already brought him up, Jalen Noel, Jaden Higgins. It was these young guys who we've been saying, like, give them a chance. You
mhm.
drafted them for a reason. Give them a chance. And at this point, they had no choice but to give him a chance because Nico Collins out, Christian Kirk out. So it was a really young group out there. And I think they really, really showed some good positive things against a really good football team. The 49ers are no joke. I know they have some injuries on their defense, but this team is 5-2 for a reason. And this is a good football team you just beat. You know, the other two games that the Texans won, we were kind of like, yeah, well, you know, the teams they're playing are bad. You know, two of the worst defenses in the league. The Texans can feel good about this one. And I think just based on the reaction that the team gave, you know, post game, the pregame lock or the post game locker room speeches, and even their interviews, like I feel like this was a really big boost of confidence to them.
Yeah, I loved that after game speech,
Mhm.
from, Coach DeMeco?
DeMeco Ryans. Yep.
I don't
DeMeco
know
Ryans.
why his name will not stick in my brain, but it won't. But him and then, Stroud, like, they're all giving him props, and he's like, "No, no, 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 it's us, it's us." I'm like, "Man, respect, dude."
100%. And that reminds me of 2 years ago, CJ, and even last year. I'm not saying that he's changed, but we've talked about how we've just kind of noticed his demeanor and
Yeah.
his body language is being a little bit different. One thing that CJ said, now, you know, whether you're a person of faith or not, every person has their own individual faith. CJ is a person who is very uh has a very strong conviction and faith in his Christianity. And so to me, whenever he steps to the mic, it doesn't bother me. Like I expect him to express that. And he hadn't been expressing it for a while. Um, and he expressed it last week after the loss, and then he expressed it this week after a win. And what that told me is like he's just maybe just feeling like a little bit more like himself.
Mm.
But he, you know, he thanked his Lord and Savior. And the part that touched me is he said, "Listen, I'm a flawed person. We had to have some hard conversations about what I was doing wrong, and we had some hard conversations with the coaches about what we thought they were doing wrong. But ultimately, we came together, we worked hard, and we figured some things out. And you hope that that can continue going forward. But once again, I've told you kind of like the things that make you fall in love with the team is when you see them go through adversity. It's not about um, how they are during it; it's how they come out of it."
Right, exactly, and you brought up so you brought up the coach, and, he had brought up those kinda things too, as looking in
Mhm.
as well as out, and, on the field, okay, did you see how mad the San Francisco coach got at, like, a few things? Like, he was, like,
Yeah,
cut you could see the words, and
for sure.
the whole time I'm thinking, "Okay, so we've got the mom, right? We've got DeMeco Ryans," and he's
Right.
like, he gets frustrated, and you can feel it because he's the, "I'm not mad at you, I'm disappointed," right?
Right.
Like
100%. 100%.
and the other guy, the San Francisco coach, is that totally like, "When dad comes home, you're gonna get it."
Yes, that is 100% true. And here's the funny part. DeMeco Ryans used to coach defense for the 49ers, and the 49ers head coach used to be the offensive coordinator for the Texans. So there's a lot of storylines
Wishy-washy.
here and a lot of intertwined. The defensive, pretty much the entire 49er staff used to coach for the Texans long
Oh
time
my
ago,
gosh.
back when DeMeco was playing. So there was a lot of ties and a lot of storylines in this game. And you know, it was kind of like the Jedi Master versus his Padawan come together for all you Star Wars nerds out there. And that's, you know, this is the first time, this is only the second time the Texans have beaten the 49ers, I think. So
Wow.
yeah, with the team, you know, this team is still relatively young compared to the rest of the league. 2002 was their first year of existence, so there's a lot of history that they're still trying to make, and
I was
that's
gonna say there's a lot of record stuff this season even.
for sure, for sure. And I think that's the cool part about you following them this year is like you kind of get to witness some of that and be a part of some of that. So it's really cool.
Yeah.
So you have a Texans shirt on, you've got the matching earrings. Uh, Tell me on a scale of 1 to 10, like how much of a Texans fan do you feel?
I think I'm still a 7 because I think that
Okay,
that's like, I'm not buying the $300 tickets because,
for sure.
well, let's be honest, I'm poor. So
Right, right.
but,
I mean, you
um
came off some money to buy that. That's pretty big.
but yes, and I got it at Target, and we all know Target isn't the cheapest shirt place.
Right?
Not
That's the
anymore.
truth.
So, yeah, I'd say a strong 7.
And I think a 7 is good. And I think the jump from 3 to 7, I don't know if you would have made that jump if everything was going all good this entire season. Like maybe I don't know. I feel like do you feel like maybe a little
I
bit of the controversy has
You
helped?
know, maybe so, and I think a lot of it really I'm gonna go back to a lot of it had to do with me doing the research ahead of time and
Cool.
having that background knowledge of where some of these young men came from and their schools, their records, all these
Yeah,
things, and getting to know their names, and then watching them on the field, and then doing good things, Hutchinson,
right.
and yeah,
So you kind of feel like a mom out there
you know,
watching
I
her
hate
kids.
yes, I thought I was younger in heart still, but yeah.
Yeah, I know. Once you realize that these kids are closer to your children's age than yours, then
Nope,
that's a
stop,
very
because
humbling.
I'm looking at bums.
It's a very humbling experience. Speaking of bums, you said that you didn't get a chance to look at the defense very often. So the offense was out there quite a bit. Anybody new catch your eye? We had some players get in the game that hadn't got a chance to play very much.
Yeah,
Last
well,
week.
number
Yeah,
55 Hunters, who I'm giving the bum of the week to.
there we go. And they both got to the quarterback, him and Anderson. I think those are your two faves so far. Both
Yeah,
of those
and
have,
Anderson always gets my attention.
yeah, yeah, for sure, and well deserved. I mean, the guys they're out there playing hard, and why not get Scara's bum of the week, or we'll call it Tushy of the week.
Tushy of the week.
Bum makes it sound like they're doing something bad.
Like they're hanging out on the corner,
Yeah.
probably in
I
San
hope
Francisco.
my dream is this show gets to a point where Texans are listening to it, and now they're trying to win Tushy of the week. Maybe flexing a little bit harder in the end zone, something like that. I don't know.
I would not mind that.
100%. This is like I said, this is so much more fun when they win and against a quality football team. But they're still climbing an uphill battle. Like, let's be honest, right now, they're still 3-4. They have an opportunity to get back to that 500 mark at 4-4. And they have another home game to do it against another really good football team in the Denver Broncos. I think that Texans fans, at least, are feeling a lot more optimistic about that possibly happening, obviously, than they were a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
My
I think
father said, "Go ahead."
I was gonna say, yeah, just moving forward, I feel a little more, um, optimistic, involved, like, wanting to I was looking forward to this game, even though I
Yeah.
know last week was a bit rough.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I was talking to my father, and I don't know how true this is, but I understood his sentiment. He said the fact that they beat the 49ers tells me that the Seahawks game was more of a fluke.
Mm,
And look, this both teams very good. It is a little bit easier to win when you're at home and everybody's rooting for you, and you've got the crowd making noise while the opposing team's offense is on the field. Um, but anytime you win in a football game where I mean all these guys are getting paid to play, some of them lots and lots of money, and they're all very very talented. We're talking about the top 1% of
right.
athletes in human existence. So anytime you win a game in the NFL, even when we said oh they beat the bad teams, I mean listen, winning from week to week is hard to do. And I think I want to ask you a question because I don't know if you saw this. DeMeco Ryans kind of preaches that like if you win a game in the NFL, you're a good team. Somebody asked him about a lot of the outside noise because obviously when they were losing, there's going to be a lot of critics. We've been critics of them, obviously. Other members of the more traditional media have been critical of some of the things going on. Somebody asked him if the team is affected by the outside noise. The comment that he made is that people thrive on the negative, and so they're more likely to be motivated by negative stories than positive stories. And he said that they don't really pay attention to it. None of it really matters to them. He said they would never actually go out and ask a fan, hey, what do you think we should do on offense? Like they just have to, you know, do what they know that they need to do. And I'm paraphrasing. That's not his exact words, but a lot of the media took offense to that. They took it as him saying, "Oh, you guys never cover me positively." Now, when I watched the interview, he never said that. All he said is people thrive on the negative, and that's
He
true,
he's saying that the negative noise is not helpful to him.
of course. And he tried to say like, "Oh, we don't listen to that." I'm sure he hears it. When he says I don't listen to it, it means he's not taking it into account.
Yeah.
He's not saying, "Oh, Bob Johnson on Facebook said that we should probably run the ball more. You know what? Let's run the ball more." I don't think he's doing that. And I think that's the point he was trying to make. But I think
Okay, wait.
some go ahead.
However, I said Stroud needs to let go of the ball more, and he
Mhm.
did, and then look at that, we won, and I said that we needed, some of this fresh blood out on the field, and look
100.
at I'm just saying maybe they should just talk to me.
Hey, 100%. And maybe you should call up and see if you can get yourself on the staff somewhere. Here's my
Excellent.
thing. And I don't, people who aren't necessarily, you don't have to be in the NFL to be able to look at what's going on the field and say, hey, I think you should be able to do this better. And I don't think he was trying, people have kind of given the narrative that he was talking down to the media and to fans. What I got from it, and you know what, I'll send you a link because I just, between you and I'd be curious how you really felt about what he said. What I gathered from it is he was talking about fans and social media. And a lot of times, what the fans are feeling and what they're saying on social media will guide what the regular media wants to talk about. Because obviously, they want people to click on their video, they want people to read their article. So sometimes I think they kind of let the fans decide what type of articles they write, what type of videos they post. And so my papa always told me a hit dog will holler. I don't think he was talking about the media, but the media took it really personal because he never said, hey, you guys never cover anything positive. All he
Well,
said is people thrive on the negative. And that's true. Just go on your
they
socials. You'll see
do,
it.
right?
Yeah.
That look at the headlines we have every single day everywhere, but also, I just don't get the impression that he's that kind of person, that he would stoop to that.
No, I don't think so either. I think he's an honest person, and I think he's
Yeah,
telling the truth about how he feels. I don't think he cares what you and I think when we say, "Hey, Nick Caley sucks." He doesn't care. Like he's gonna give his coaches an opportunity to prove themselves. He's gonna go and look at the film and try to correct what they did wrong, and that's what a leader does. I
yeah,
mean,
it's his job.
of 100%. We've probably all both been under different types of leadership. There's some leadership that uses positive reinforcement, and then you have others that use the opposite. It's more negative. And you have to know your team and what they react to. And the players who play for DeMeco Ryans, they love him. And nobody has ever said a bad thing about DeMeco Ryans. Current players, former coaches, nobody's ever said anything bad about
I
him.
think you hit
And
on it. They are playing for him, right?
Mhm.
He's the mom that you want to not disappoint, right?
100%. 100%. The last person I want to talk about, we mentioned him a little bit, CJ Stroud. Once again, a lot of his teammates are giving him praise. There's been people questioning whether he's really that franchise quarterback. And like you said, the voices we really should listen to are the voices in that locker room. To a man, everyone in that locker room after this game is like, CJ's been this guy. You know, he takes accountability. And whenever he does something wrong, he comes to us and he says, hey, that's on me. He never points the finger at other people. But when it's go time, when it's time for him to deliver, for the most part, since he's been the quarterback of this football team, you won 10 games his first season, 10 games his second season, off to a little bit of a rough start, but he's shown flashes that he's still that guy. Just
And
how
that
do you feel about him in general?
Well, yeah, and that locker room guy in that post speech, it was, you know, "Hey, hey, hey, Stroud," and he's like, "No, no, like, I can't do my job if I don't have the rest of these guys."
100.
So, I don't know, I like him. I think
Mhm.
that's a lot of what has kept me in the Texans bloodline,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
And I love him because he feels real and not fake and not, um I don't know, an asshole, can I say that? Like,
Yes. Yes. We are on the
you
internet.
know,
You
because
can say
we get that idea that jerk,
yeah.
athlete type,
There are
and
some. I won't mention any names, Aaron Rodgers, but yeah, I get you.
but no, he's like, every time someone comes at him with the praise, he's like, "Thank you, and."
Right. And let's not forget this. He's 23 years old.
Oh my god, no, he's not.
Yes, he's 23 years old. Like we cannot expect. I understand he's in a very, very important leadership position on this team, but I don't expect him to be perfect, and we
Well,
shouldn't. And I
the amount
think
of pressure at 23, good lord, your
100%.
his brain is very, like, barely full of development.
Of course, and
Sorry,
you have
excuse me for all of my, like, weird words. I'm kind of having COVID right now, so my brain is
you're
stuck.
doing great. I know that COVID fog is real for sure. I get it on a regular basis with or without COVID, so it's fine. But no, I agree with you. At the age of 23, the amount of pressure, he's basically carrying the weight of an entire city on his shoulders and having to go through he's canceled and deleted all of his social media, which is very smart on his part because every time we win, he's the greatest. Every time we lose, fire him. Let's start Mills. Let's see what Graham Mertz looks like. If he were to pay attention to that, it would drive him crazy.
Yeah.
So he seems like a young man who's very secure in who he is, knows who he is, and he understands what's important is that locker room. And that's what I love about this team so far. The record, yes, it's disappointing, but there's teams who lose and you can see the cracks and you just know like, oh, this isn't gonna last very long. Like
Yeah.
it's just a matter of time before this whole thing blows up.
So
I
I
don't get
just
that feeling about this team.
it just came to me, but, Seattle's where they lost
Mhm.
and shouldn't have, correct? And
Yeah,
or
I mean, Seattle's a
maybe
good
should have
team.
done better.
Yeah, Seattle, their offense was disappointing. Like if they'd have made a more competitive game out of it, then I wouldn't have been upset. But
Okay.
it wasn't a great. They didn't compete very hard on offense. Once again, it was another case of the defense playing really, really well, and you feeling like the offense didn't do their part.
Okay, I was just kinda wondering if the weather had anything to do with it because it's cold up there and stiff, muscles and stuff, I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah. No, the weather was great for that Monday
Oh,
night game. I think once again, Seattle's a hard place to play. We talked about the 12th man, really loud stadium. All the seats are like right on top of
that's
the
right.
field.
You're talking about
And
that's the loud one.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And I'm sure some of that factored into it. But like CJ said, they had to have some hard conversations like, hey, we're not playing well. And here's why. And here's who needs to fix what, including me. And we talked about their leadership, DeMeco Ryans and CJ Stroud. Every time they're in front of a camera, they always say, hey, it starts with me. I got to be better. And I think that's the type of leader that we all want. And like you said, when they say it, I don't think they're just saying that because they feel like that's the right thing to say. I
Right.
believe they really believe that.
Yeah. So, I had, 2 questions this week.
All righty, let's have them. And I hope I
My
can answer.
I probably. So, my first one is holding, and I feel like we have talked about this before, but
Not in detail, but yeah.
yeah, like, isn't that kinda half the point is to keep the other team from getting the ball? So, what constitutes as holding versus holding?
Okay. So let's start with offensive holding. Obviously, you have very large men trying to run and hit your quarterback very, very hard. So the offensive line, excuse me, their job is to block. And that's where the rule starts. You can block them, you can push them away. But if you get beat and you grab a hold of them, grab their shirt,
Oh,
grab their shoulder pads, put your arm around them because they've already beaten you, that's against the rules. So you can't do
okay.
that. So that would be an offensive holding, which is a very penal. I think you lose 10 yards every time you get one
Yeah,
of those.
it was a
So
I remember it being a lot.
it's really frustrating when that happens because now instead of first and 10, you're at first and 15. And since you've been watching the game, you've probably noticed anytime you have to move backwards, that's usually going to kill your drive because there aren't a whole lot of plays drawn up for, hey, let's gain 30 yards because we got two penalties. So uh,
Although we did that quite a few times this last game.
that's true. We got out of some first and 15s. Against the Ravens, we got out of what was it, a second and 30 something, which is not ideal. Like if you're in that position more often than not, it's going to be bad.
Okay.
But at least we know they have the ability to do it. So yeah, on a defensive holding, it's kind of similar. If you're a cornerback and your wide receiver that you're covering, if he beats you and you grab a hold of his jersey or you put your arm around him, it's kind of the same thing. In the first 5 yards, you are allowed to what's called jam. So like you can try to push him off of his route to kind of stall him from because football is all about timing, right? Like I have X amount of seconds to get this ball from point A to point B. And so a lot of times the good quarterbacks, they'll be throwing to a space before their receivers even open because they're trusting he's going to break
Yeah.
into where the ball is going. So you are allowed to jam at the line to kind of throw off that timing, but after 5 yards, you can't touch the receiver. And
Oh, okay.
so that's basically if you move your feet quick, you can do your job. But anytime you have to grab a hold of somebody, that's against the rules, so you'll get penalized for it.
Okay, and that actually brought me to, I guess, another question, but, I wasn't going to ask, but at one point, a San Francisco guy started, like, mean pushing our
Mhm.
guy. I guess, is that allowed? Because it was, like, after the play had finished, and he was being kinda
Um,
aggressive.
so yeah, yeah. So what I will say is that it the referees will kind of use their judgment on what's excessive. I think it's really hard when you're playing a physical sport and there's adrenaline out there and you're hitting each other. Like they'll let a little bit of pushing and shoving go
Okay.
after the whistle, but if it's excessive, like if somebody throws a punch or somebody throws somebody to the ground, then they're going to throw a penalty flag. But you know, as long as they cool off within a few seconds, like, hey, chill, we blew the whistle. You guys can stop hitting each other now. They're usually okay with that.
Okay.
But
Yeah, it was a
if it's excessive, then you'll see a flag thrown on it.
yeah, I mean, it was just a couple little angry pushes, but
Yeah, yeah. And you honestly, if you ever go to practice, because the Texans do open practices before the season starts, I mean, you'll see teammates doing that too. I mean, it's a violent sport. We can't we can't pretend that it isn't. So, and
right.
it's probably pretty hard to go from hair on fire to cool off in just a few seconds.
Especially as a
So,
man.
for sure, a lot of testosterone flowing around in there. All
Okay,
righty,
so
go ahead.
my last question was, do penalties, like, cancel each other out if there's one against one team and one against the other team at the same time?
Yes, those are
Okay,
called offsetting penalties, and
okay,
the Texans were fortunate on one particular because they had 2 offensive penalties and the 49ers got 1 defensive penalty. Now, you're not allowed to stack penalties. So when the Texans got 2 different penalties, I believe it was 2 different people with offensive holding. One of them was declined by the 49ers. They accepted the second one, and then since they had a penalty on their defense, that's what basically is called an offset. So they just replay the
okay.
down, same distance. And that kind of bailed the Texans out because they would have been moving even further backwards if it hadn't been for that penalty on the 49ers. So yeah,
Right,
they
because
can cancel each other out.
yeah, because I guess it was that part I missed about there's 2 on one side and 1 on the other, how
Right,
does
right,
that
right.
work?
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
for sure.
okay, so
You can't
you can't
accept
have
2
2.
penalties, right. You can if a team does commit 2 penalties, you have to choose which one you want to accept. That team is usually going to accept the one that penalizes more. For
Wait, who
instance,
chooses?
the coach
Of which
of the other team.
okay,
So let's say the Texans have an offensive holding and a pass interference. So offensive holding is going to give you a 20-yard 20-yard move backwards versus if there's an offensive pass interference, uh, I can't remember if that one's 15 or 20. Basically, they let you pick whichever one penalizes the team more, you're allowed to pick it.
and
So,
that's what they're gonna pick.
yeah, more than likely. The only time that they wouldn't, and now we're getting into like the only time that they wouldn't, let's say it's third down and it's already third and 15, and somebody got an offensive pass interference. If you would rather have fourth and 15 than third and 20, because
Mhm,
now you have 2 more chances to get a first down. If you would rather have, fourth and 15, now the team is more than likely going to punt the ball back. So basically, the coach is going to choose whatever benefits his team the most,
yeah,
whether it's push the team back or in that situation, you don't want to give them another down. You would rather just have them lose the down and be on fourth down because they're more than likely going to punt it back to you. So,
okay. Oh, I just thought of another one.
yes, yes.
That really terrible kick.
Oh my goodness.
Can you like, what happened? And I don't even know the outcome and the rules around this.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know what's up with Kaimi Fairbairn. Like this dude can kick 70-yard field goals, but for some reason, and I don't know if you got a chance to actually watch the Seattle game after the fact, but that's one of the things that cost them the chance to actually come back and tie the game because he right now the kickoff rule is you can if you kick it out of the back of the end zone, uh, the NFL wants returns because that part of the game had been pretty much obsolete because nobody was kicking returnable balls. They were just
Mm,
kicking them out of the back, and it almost made the play irrelevant. Like, why are we even out here doing this? We might as well just put the ball on the 20. So, in order to incentivize there to be more kick returns, they changed the kickoff rule where if the kick lands between the 20 and the 1, and you catch it, you have to bring it back.
okay,
If it doesn't go all the way to the 20, then that penalizes the team that's kicking. So the team needs to kick it basically in that landing zone in order to not get penalized in some way. So on 2 different occasions, one of them, Kaimi Fairbairn kicked one and it was awful. It didn't even make it to the landing zone. And I think the penalty for that is the team gets the ball at like the 40,
okay.
which you're almost to midfield at that point.
Yeah.
He had one where he kicked it where if it lands out of bounds, on the kickoff, you're not allowed to kick out of bounds on the kickoff. So he had one a couple of weeks ago where it went out of bounds. That gives him the ball like on the 40 or the 45. I can't remember. It's just you're putting the defense in really tough position. And that's what happened. Instead of kicking the ball out of the back of the end zone, this happened both in the Seattle game and yesterday, right before halftime. He kicked it to somebody who was able to return it. They got really good field position and a penalty on top of it. So that's how they ended up scoring that touchdown at halftime.
Mhm.
Otherwise, it could have been 16-0. I'm glad you brought that up because I just feel like, we've been giving special teams a lot of credit for playing well, even when the rest of the team, offense or defense isn't. Special teams wasn't great in this game. And that's what makes me optimistic because I think we've maybe had one game all season where the offense, defense, and special teams all played really, really well together and complemented each other. And in this game, you were still able to win, but there's just room for improvement. And I hope that they're going to continue to do what they've been doing, watching the film and figure out, hey, let's just get better. But yeah, I don't know what's up with Fairbairn. And, kickers, I'm surprised he hasn't gotten your tushy of the week. Maybe he's pulled a hamstring. I don't know. Maybe he needs to do some more squats.
We
Because
don't get that angle,
that's true, except for when they're kicking a field goal. You might
but it's
it's
really
really
far
small.
back.
Yeah, yeah. You got to zoom in a little bit.
Mm.
But I don't know what's up with him right now. I know he's able to kick a whole lot farther. I don't know if that's the game plan, the strategy, because if he kicks it out of the back of the end zone, I think the ball's either at the 25 or the 30. And if you're able to kick it in that landing zone and stop them before they get to the 20, you're trusting that your guys are going to get down there fast enough to tackle him, and you're taking a chance. I honestly I don't know what's going on with
I mean,
that
he
right
looked
now.
frustrated and so did Ryan, so it wasn't.
Yeah, I don't think that was the game plan.
No, it's like he can kick really well up in the air between the goalposts, right?
Right. I mean, I think his career long is like 56 yards.
How
Um,
so
so
how long has he been playing?
he is right now the longest tenured Houston Texan. He actually is
Okay.
their number one points leader. So it's been several years now. So I think he's 31 years
Okay,
old.
and how recent is that rule where you can't you have to do it between these 2?
I started that 2 seasons ago.
So
So it's
maybe
still
that's
pretty
it,
new.
right?
Yeah,
Like,
for
he's
sure.
used to these really long, far kicks. He's having
Before
trouble
that,
bringing it
yeah,
back.
that's a good point because before that, like I said, 9 times out of 10, he was just kicking it out of the back of the end zone.
Yeah.
So maybe it might be a little bit more challenging to say, "Hey, let me take a little bit off." So maybe
Mhm.
he hasn't figured out like how hard he needs to kick it to get in that landing zone, but hopefully he starts practicing because
Can
it's
someone else kick those? Like, he kicks the field
the
goals?
punter can, and let me say, uh, Tommy Townsend had an excellent game. He's been really good this year. And the ladies love him. He's got that long flowing hair coming out of the back of his out of his helmet. Young, good-looking guy. Um, I'm curious how he would be as it's a different type of kick. Like one, you're holding
Mhm.
the ball and you're kicking it away, versus a place kicker where the ball is sitting in place. I'm assuming Kaimi is probably the best at it. Otherwise, maybe they would give Tommy a look. Most punters just punt. Back in the day, you used to have a guy who punted and kicked field goals.
Mm.
But as the game has gotten further along and you know you're putting more science into it, I think there's more specialty guys like, hey, I just punt, I just kick field goals. I mean, for me, it would be great if you found somebody who could do both because that saves you a roster spot, and then maybe you can add another type of player. But yeah, I'm not sure. I think he has 1 year left on his contract. We'll see. Like I said, he's been here a long time. He's the Texans' leading scorer all time, in the
Well, when
entire
you're
franchise
also
history.
the longest team member.
Right, he's been here for a while now. But he's only missed one field goal this year, so he's been good at that. But
Yeah.
his kickoff has been a little sus, and I know it's cost us at least an opportunity to try to get back into one game. So hopefully he'll get better at that too. But I'm just tickled pink that like you're observing all of this stuff. And speaking of watching your child grow, I don't mean to like come off that. I don't mean that in a
No, you're good.
disrespectful way, but like from where we started when I first asked you, hey, you want to do this show? What do you know about the Texans? And you're like, absolutely nothing. To now, like, are you comfortable saying I know ball yet?
No.
No, not yet.
I'm getting there.
Yeah, I mean, you always have great questions every show, and there's gonna be questions that I'm not gonna be able to answer because it's not like I'm some type of aficionado. I've just been watching and being a fan of the sport for a really really long time. So um, we've gotten in the last 2 weeks, we got a look at a couple of different Texans bloodline. And, I want to thank my brother for joining me last week. He did a great job. Thank everybody who came out to our watch party for this win against the 49ers. And just thank you all who have been embracing this show. I had some people come up to me and say, hey, we're watching Texans Bloodline. We really enjoy it. So that was really cool. And they wanted to know where SCARA was. And I was like, I'm sorry, she's not here, but we're going to try to get her to one. So people are paying attention. And I think they like the concept of the show. And I got to thank you for that.
Excellent.
The YouTube channel is growing. You're a part of that. So I have to thank you for that as well.
And I do wanna get out to one of those watch parties. It's just, when it's an hour and a half from my home,
For sure.
and I
I
feel
got
you
to
know
come to
what? I
you.
feel like every time the Texans lose, I have a really terrible week.
Wow. There's
Maybe
something there.
you gotta start winning so I can have better weeks and not have COVID.
There we go. There we go. That is a true Texans fan. When you start linking everything else in your life to whether the team wins or loses, you are definitely there.
I've
So
earned the 7.
100, 100. So listen, thank you guys so much for tuning into Texans Bloodline. Thank you guys for embracing the show. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification bell. Add Texans Bloodline playlist to your favorites. That way, every time we post a new episode, or if we post a short, or if we decide, hey, we're going to pop up in your neighborhood, you won't miss anything. You can follow me at Houston Sports State of the Union on YouTube, on X, on Instagram, and on Facebook. I am at PodHost Nick on Twitter, and you will find SCARA at SCARA K on Facebook and Bad Teacher Tales on Instagram. SCARA, tell them why your handle is Bad Teacher Tales.
Because of my podcast, Bad Teacher Tales. It is where I collect stories from educators, because it's not just teachers anymore, and I tell them anonymously. And you get a glimpse into the classroom because it is a wild place sometimes.
Sure. Well, I look forward to new episodes. I know you said you've got some in the chamber ready to go, but you guys, the beautiful thing about the show is you can go back and listen to the old episodes. It's still
Mhm.
up anywhere you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Apple, I believe on
It's on everything.
yeah, it's on everything. So you guys go check it out. That'll give you a little bit more in-depth idea about who SCARA is. And just like she's falling in love with the Texans, maybe you'll fall in love with her just a little bit more.
I'd
So
I'd love to have you there, and like you said, we do have some new episodes coming out. This was the week I was gonna edit them, but now there's
mm,
it's I just can't win this year.
hey, it's all good. It's all good because I promise everybody it's worth waiting for.
Aw.
So another thing that's worth waiting for, hopefully, it's my superstitious year. We're gonna knock on wood. The Texans at home versus the Denver Broncos. If they get another win, they'll be at 4-4, and it's a brand new season at that point. So I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to covering it with you, SCARA. We love you guys. In the meantime, stay 10 toes down for the H. Have a good night.
Night.